Most instant ramen? Mild, comforting, predictable. But Buldak? It hits completely differently. The sauce is thick, dark red, almost black. The heat doesn't fade. It actually builds. Your mouth burns, your eyes water, and somehow it keeps getting worse. So what makes Buldak feel so much hotter than other instant ramen? It's definitely not just about Scoville numbers. There's actually a specific combination of ingredients and a very deliberate sauce formula that makes the heat last longer and hit harder. Today, we're breaking down exactly why Buldak feels so intense and what makes it completely different from regular ramen. Let's start with the basics. Most instant ramen, Maruchan, Nissan, even Shin Ramyun, relies on seasoning powder. You tear open the packet, sprinkle it in. It dissolves into the broth. Some of it clings to the noodles, but most of it spreads out into the water. The heat is there, but it's diluted, dispersed, balanced by the broth. You get warmth, a tingle, maybe a slow build. Now look at Buldak. No powder, no broth, just a thick, concentrated chili oil sauce. Dark red, almost black in some versions. When you tear open the packet, it doesn't pour, it oozes. And when you mix it with the noodles, it doesn't dissolve, it coats. Every single strand gets wrapped in that glossy layer of oil, and oil behaves very differently from powder. Powder disperses, oil adheres, it clings to the noodles, to your lips, to the roof of your mouth. And because it's oil-based, it doesn't break down the same way water-soluble seasoning does. So every bite, full contact, full intensity. That thick, sticky coating is the first reason Buldak feels so much hotter than regular instant ramen. And we're just getting started. So what's actually in that sauce? Let's break it down. First, chili extract. Not just flakes, not just powder, concentrated capsaicin. This is the compound that makes peppers burn, concentrated into a thick paste. Most instant ramen uses ground chili that's been dried and processed. A Buldak skips the middleman and goes straight to the source. But more capsaicin per gram, more burn per bite. Second, chili oil. And this isn't just a carrier, it's a delivery system. The oil is infused with Korean chili peppers, heated and steeped until it's saturated with heat. And because it's oil-based, it clings to surfaces and lingers longer than water-based seasoning ever could. It doesn't evaporate, it doesn't dilute, it stays. Third, soy sauce. This gives Buldak its dark, almost black color. But more importantly, it adds a heavy dose of salt. Salt amplifies flavor, including heat. It primes your taste buds, making the capsaicin feel sharper and more immediate. Now, the surprising one, sugar. Yes, sugar, and here's why it matters. Sugar doesn't cool the heat down, it extends it. It creates this sweet, spicy contrast that keeps your brain engaged. You get a moment of relief, then the burn comes back harder. That sweet, spicy tension keeps you locked in. Then there is garlic and onion powder for depth. They make the heat feel more complex, more layered. It's not just hot, it's savory hot. The kind of heat that makes you want another bite even though you're suffering. And finally, MSG and sodium. MSG enhances every flavor signal on your tongue. The sweetness, the salt, the chili, all amplified. Put it all together, and this isn't random heat. It's layered, balanced, engineered for intensity. That's why Buldak doesn't just taste spicy, it feels aggressive. How the heat spreads. Here's where things change. With powder-based ramen, capsaicin mixes into water. It disperses through the broth. Some of it hits your tongue, some of it gets diluted. Your saliva starts breaking it down almost immediately. But Buldak plays a different game. Oil doesn't mix with water. When that chili oil hits your mouth, it spreads across every surface. Your tongue, your gums, the roof of your mouth, even the inside of your cheeks. It's not a single point of impact. It's full coverage, and because it's oil-based, it moves, it slides, it coats, you swallow, and a thin layer stays behind. You take another bite, and it builds on top of what's already there. The heat doesn't stay in one place, it spreads. Why the burn lasts longer. Now here's the real difference. Saliva is water-based. It's designed to break down water-soluble compounds. Capsaicin in oil isn't water-soluble, so your mouth tries to dilute it, but it can't fully wash it away. The oil clings to surfaces, keeping the capsaicin in contact with your heat receptors longer than a water-based seasoning would. That's why drinking water doesn't really help. It can actually spread the oil around. Milk works better because fat can bind to capsaicin. But most people don't have milk on hand when they're eating buldak, so the burn just lingers. With powder-based ramen, the heat peaks early and fades. With buldak, it accumulates. Each bite reinforces the last. That's why it doesn't just taste hotter, it feels persistent. Here's where things get interesting. Open almost any Buldak comment section, and you'll see two completely different reactions. One person says, "Hey, this destroyed me. I couldn't finish it." Another says, "This is barely spicy. I don't get the hype." So who's right? Both of them. Spice tolerance isn't universal. It's trained. When you eat spicy food regularly, your body adapts. Capsaicin activates heat-sensitive receptors in your mouth, specifically something called TRPV1 receptors. These receptors send pain signals to your brain. But with repeated exposure to spicy food, those receptors become less reactive. The food doesn't get weaker. Your response gets stronger. Think of it like building calluses. The first time you lift weights, your hands hurt. After months of training, the bar doesn't feel rough anymore. It's the same principle. If you grew up eating Korean, Thai, Indian, or Mexican food regularly, your baseline tolerance is already higher. Buldak might feel intense, but manageable. If you're used to mild food, buldak can feel overwhelming. That's not weakness, that's starting point. It also explains the cultural divide. In regions where spice is part of everyday cuisine, buldak is just another noodle dish, a strong one, but not shocking. In places where extreme spice is less common, it becomes a challenge, an event, something you film yourself trying. And here's the important part. Even people with high tolerance often admit the burn lingers, because that oil-based delivery system doesn't rely on shock value alone. It's built for persistence. So if buldak barely fazed you, you've likely built your tolerance over time. And if it completely overwhelmed you, you're not imagining it. The heat is real. How it feels just depends on where you're starting from. So where did this all start? Buldak, literally fire chicken, didn't begin as instant ramen. It started as a Korean street food dish in the early 2000s, grilled chicken coated in an intensely spicy gochugaru-based sauce. The kind of food people would eat on a dare, loud, messy, unapologetically hot. It was extreme, and that was the point. In 2012, Samyang took that fire chicken concept and turned it into instant ramen. But they didn't tone it down, they leaned in. The original Buldak Ramen launched with a clear goal: be the spiciest instant noodle on the market. And it worked. But Samyang didn't stop there. They kept pushing. They released new versions, hotter versions. The 2 times spicy, the 3 times spicy, limited editions with ghost pepper and with Carolina Reaper, each release pushing the boundary further. This wasn't accidental product development. It was identity building. Extreme heat creates reaction. Reaction creates conversation. Conversation creates content. Every new version became an event. YouTubers filmed themselves trying it. Friends dared each other. The Fire Noodle Challenge spread across the internet. By the mid-2000s, Buldak wasn't just popular in Korea, it was global. Convenience stores across the US, Europe, and Southeast Asia stocked those black packages with the angry chicken logo. And instead of softening the brand for wider appeal, Samyang doubled down. They didn't make it milder, they made it more extreme, because that extremity became the identity. Other brands make ramen for comfort. Buldak made ramen you eat to prove something. And that's why it isn't just another spicy noodle, it's an experience. It was designed to be unforgettable, and that design is exactly what made it last. So why did Buldak explode the way it did? Because it wasn't just spicy, it was memorably spicy. In the era of food challenges and reaction videos, extreme heat became entertainment. People wanted to test their limits. They wanted to prove they could handle it. And Buldak delivered an experience intense enough to film, share, and talk about. You don't go viral eating mild ramen, but Buldak? That's a story. The tears, the sweating, the shock. It's visceral, it's dramatic, and that's exactly what made it spread. But one key point to remember, that intensity wasn't accidental. It was engineered. The chili extract, the oil-based delivery, the layered heat, the way it coats and lingers. Every element works together to create a specific kind of burn, one that builds, spreads, and refuses to fade quickly. It's not just about Scoville numbers. It's about delivery and persistence. It's about engineering an experience strong enough that you remember it. That's why Bulldak stands apart and feels different, because it was designed to feel different. And that design is exactly what turned it from a bowl of noodles into an event. So that's the answer. Bulldak isn't just spicier. It's engineered to feel spicier. From the concentrated chili extract to the oil-based sauce that coats every surface, every part of it is designed to make the heat hit harder and last longer. The most instant ramen ever would. Now I want to hear from you. Have you tried Bulldak? Which flavor hit the hardest? And more importantly, did you finish the bowl? Or did the bowl finish you? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoy breaking down the science behind the food you eat every day, make sure you're subscribed. There's a lot more happening behind the scenes than most people realize, and we're going to share that with you in upcoming videos. Until then, thanks for watching.